The starship moved through the darkness like a ghost. Its hull absorbed light instead of reflecting it, making the vessel nearly invisible against the black canvas of space. Inside the ship, Velcross stood on the command platform, his three eyes gleaming with satisfaction. After 3 months of careful travel, they had finally reached human territory. The Kael'thir were masters of stealth. For over 10,000 years, their civilization had perfected the art of watching without being seen. Their bodies could blend into any background, a gift from their ancestors who had hunted in the dense forests of their homeworld. When they reached for the stars, they brought this talent with them, building ships that could hide from any sensor, any eye, any detection system known to the galaxy. Velcross touched the smooth control panel in front of him. The ship's name, Whisper of Silence, was fitting. It made no sound, left no trail, and existed in a state between reality and shadow. The Dominion had sent him here with a clear mission: learn everything about the humans. These strange creatures had appeared in the galaxy only 300 years ago, spreading from their small blue world like insects from a disturbed nest. The ruling caste wanted to know if they posed a threat. "Status report," Velcross commanded, his voice a soft hiss. Captain Thelraz turned from her station, her scaled face calm. "We have crossed the first human security perimeter." No response detected. Their sensors passed right through us. A ripple of satisfaction moved through the crew. 20 Kael'thir sat at their stations, each one a specialist in surveillance and intelligence gathering. They had trained for years for this mission, studying human languages, human technology, and human behavior. The Dominion never acted without knowledge, and knowledge required watching. "Bring us closer to the fleet," Velcross ordered. "I want to see these humans up close." The ship glided forward, moving between the planets of the Proxima system. Ahead of them, the human Third Fleet performed their exercises. Velcross counted 53 vessels, ranging from small patrol craft to massive battleships. The largest ship, marked with the designation UESS Indomitable, sat at the center of the formation like a queen surrounded by workers. The humans had painted their ships in gray and white, colors that seemed foolish to Velcross. Why advertise your position? Why not hide? But then again, these were young creatures barely out of their cradle world. They probably didn't understand the sophisticated art of concealment. "Recording all data," announced Sekthar, the intelligence officer. "I am capturing their communication frequencies, weapon signatures, and power outputs. Their technology is primitive but functional. They use basic fusion drives and kinetic weapons. No stealth capabilities detected." Velcross allowed himself a small smile. The Dominion had been right to worry, but perhaps they had worried too much. These humans were children playing with toys, not the dangerous enemy that some had feared. Still, he would be thorough. The Dominion had survived for so long because they never underestimated anyone. "Take us between those two battleships," he said, pointing at a gap in the human formation. "I want to position us at the center of their fleet." Thelraz hesitated for a moment. "Hierarch, are you certain?" "That is very close. If they detect us—" "They will not detect us," Velcross interrupted. "We passed through their security perimeter without triggering a single alarm. Their sensors are decades behind ours. We could park on their flagship's hull and they would never know." The Whisper of Silence moved forward, slipping between the two human battleships with meters to spare. Velcross watched the massive human vessels through the viewscreen, studying their design. They were built heavy and strong, with thick armor and powerful weapons. The humans clearly believed in direct confrontation rather than subtlety. "We are now inside their formation," Thelraz reported. "Distance to the flagship, 15,000 meters. Still no detection." "Perfect." Velcross activated the deep scanning systems, sending invisible beams of energy through the human ships. The scanners penetrated their hulls, mapping everything inside. He could see the humans moving through their corridors, sitting at their stations, eating in their mess halls. They had no idea they were being watched. Over the next 6 hours, the Kael'thir recorded everything. They captured the humans' tactical communications, noting how their commanders spoke to each other. They analyzed the fleet's formation patterns, looking for weaknesses in their positioning. They measured the power output of every weapon system, calculating range and destructive capacity. They even intercepted personal messages between crew members, learning about human culture and psychology. Sekthar compiled the data into organized files. "The humans favor aggressive tactics," he reported. "Their formations are designed for direct assault rather than defensive positioning. They appear to rely on numerical superiority and firepower rather than strategy. Their command structure is hierarchical, but allows for individual initiative, which creates both flexibility and potential chaos. What about their weaknesses? Velcross asked. Numerous, Sekthar replied. Their reactor cores are exposed to specific frequency attacks. Their communication systems can be jammed easily. Their formation leaves gaps that a smaller, faster force could exploit. And they appear to have no counter-stealth capabilities whatsoever. They cannot detect what they cannot see. Velcross felt satisfaction warm his chest. The mission was a complete success. The Dominion would be pleased. They now had detailed intelligence on human military capabilities, and the humans remained completely unaware of the observation. This was how the Kyle-Thyr had always operated, watching from the shadows, learning secrets, and using that knowledge to stay ahead of potential threats. Begin preparing departure protocols, Velcross ordered. We have what we came for. We will compile our full report during the journey home. The crew worked efficiently, organizing their data and preparing the ship for the long journey back to Dominion space. Velcross walked slowly around the command center, feeling the pride of a successful mission. The humans had been easy targets. Their security was laughable compared to the sophisticated systems of older civilizations. He paused at a viewport, looking out at the human flagship. Somewhere inside that massive ship, a human admiral sat in a command chair, completely ignorant of the Kyle-Thyr presence. Velcross wondered what the human would think if they knew they had been infiltrated so easily. Probably panic. Young species always panicked when they realized how vulnerable they were. Hierarch, Thelras called out. We are ready to depart. Setting course for the system's edge. Proceed, Velcross said. Take us out slowly. No sudden movements. Maintain stealth protocols until we are well clear of human space. The whisper of silence began to move, backing away from the human fleet with the same care it had used to approach. Velcross watched the human ships grow smaller on the view screen. The mission had been perfect. Absolutely perfect. In the intelligence section, Sekthar smiled as he packaged the final data files. The ruling caste will celebrate this achievement, he said to a colleague. We have penetrated human space, observed their most powerful fleet, and learned their secrets without them ever knowing we were here. This is why the Kyle-Thyr are the greatest intelligence service in the galaxy. His colleague nodded in agreement. The humans never stood a chance. They didn't even know they were being hunted. Velcross heard the comment and allowed himself a moment of pride. Yes, the humans had been completely unaware. The Kyle-Thyr had once again proven their superiority. As the whisper of silence cleared the inner system and prepared to jump to hyperspace, Velcross thought about the commendations he would receive, the honors that would be bestowed upon his crew. He never imagined that at that exact moment, aboard the UESS Indomitable, Admiral Sarah Chen was watching his ship on a holographic display. A slight smile on her face as she turned to her intelligence officer and said quietly, "Let them go. We have them exactly where we want them." Admiral Sarah Chen stood in the command center of the UESS Indomitable, her hands clasped behind her back as she watched the holographic display floating in front of her. A small red dot moved slowly through the blue spheres that represented her fleet. The dot was the Kyle-Thyr spy ship, completely unaware that it had been visible to human sensors since the moment it entered the system. How long have they been recording us? She asked. Commander Marcus Webb, her intelligence officer, checked his console. 6 hours, 17 minutes. They've scanned every ship in the formation. They're being very thorough, Chen nodded slowly. Webb was one of the best intelligence officers in the human fleet. A man who understood that warfare had changed. Space battles weren't just about who had bigger guns anymore. They were about who had better information, better deception, and better strategic thinking. Have they taken the bait? Chen asked. Webb smiled. Every bit of it, Admiral. They intercepted our staged communications about the reactor vulnerabilities. They recorded our fake tactical doctrines. They even captured the personal messages we planted about crew morale issues. As far as they know, they've learned all our secrets. Good. Chen turned to her tactical officer. Status of the real Third Fleet? Standing by in hyperspace, Admiral. They can jump in on your command. All stealth platforms are in position. Hunter-killer drones are deployed throughout the system. The Kyle-Thyr are completely surrounded. They just don't know it yet. Chen had been planning this operation for 3 months, ever since her intelligence people had detected unusual quantum fluctuations near human space. The signatures matched reports from other species who had been infiltrated by Kael'thir spies. The Dominion had a reputation across the galaxy as masters of stealth and surveillance. They had been watching other civilizations for thousands of years, always staying hidden, always gathering secrets. But they had made one critical mistake. They had assumed that human technology was as primitive as it appeared. The truth was more complicated. Humanity had developed quantum entanglement sensors 5 years ago, a breakthrough that made traditional stealth technology obsolete. The sensors could detect the tiny distortions in spacetime that any physical object created, no matter how well hidden. But humanity had kept this technology secret, deliberately showing the galaxy only their conventional sensors while building a network of quantum detection systems throughout their space. When the Kael'thir entered human territory, they had no idea they were lighting up like a beacon on every human monitoring station. Chen had immediately seen the opportunity. Instead of destroying the spy ship or driving it away, she could turn it into an asset. She could feed the Kael'thir false information, while using their own spy mission to track them back to their hidden homeworld. And more importantly, she could send a message to the entire galaxy. Humanity was not an easy target. "They're preparing to leave," Webb announced. "The spy ship is moving toward the system's edge." "Let them go," Chen said calmly. "But make sure our tracking packages are active." 3 weeks earlier, during the Kael'thir ship's approach, Chen had ordered a precision strike that appeared to miss by centimeters. In reality, human weapons had delivered microscopic nanites onto the alien hull, tiny machines that would broadcast the ship's location using quantum signals that the Kael'thir couldn't detect or block. The spy ship was now a homing beacon. "Tracking confirmed, Admiral. The nanites are functioning perfectly. We'll be able to follow them anywhere." Chen walked to the viewport, looking out at the stars. She'd grown up on Earth in a small town in northern China before joining the military. Her grandmother had told her stories about the old ways of hunting, how patience and preparation mattered more than strength. Her grandmother had been a hunter in the mountains, tracking animals through snow and forest. Chen had learned those lessons well. "What are your orders, Admiral?" her tactical officer asked. "We wait 5 minutes after they jump to hyperspace," Chen said. "Then we follow them. Not too close. Stay exactly 50,000 kilometers behind them. I want them to know we're there." "You want them to know?" Webb looked surprised. Chen turned to face him. "Commander, we're not just tracking them to find their homeworld. We're teaching them a lesson. They came here thinking they were invisible predators stalking blind prey. I want them to understand what it feels like to be hunted." 20 minutes later, the Kael'thir ship jumped to hyperspace. Chen counted down 5 minutes exactly, then gave the order. 4 human warships jumped after them, appearing in hyperspace exactly 50,000 kilometers behind the fleeing spy vessel. "Maintain that distance precisely," Chen ordered. "Don't get closer, don't fall back. I want them to look over their shoulder and see us there every single time." The pursuit began. Chen didn't need to be on one of the pursuing ships. She returned to her quarters and began coordinating the larger operation. Because while 4 ships were following the Kael'thir spy vessel, hundreds of other human ships were moving into position throughout the galaxy. Human intelligence had been studying the Kael'thir for years, gathering clues about their territory, and the tracking data from the spy ship was filling in the gaps. Over the next 3 weeks, Chen watched reports come in from her pursuing ships. The Kael'thir were trying everything to lose their followers. They jumped through radiation zones, used gravitational slingshots around black holes and hid in asteroid fields. But every time they looked back, the human ships were still there, patient, relentless, unchanging. "They tried to self-destruct their ship," Webb reported during one of their daily briefings. "Our cyber warfare AI prevented it. We've infiltrated their systems completely. They can't even destroy themselves." Chen felt a moment of sympathy for the Kael'thir crew. They must be terrified. But sympathy didn't change her mission. The galaxy needed to learn that humanity could not be spied upon with impunity. "They're heading home," Webb continued. "We've confirmed the location of Kael'thir Prime. It matches our predictions. They'll arrive in approximately 48 hours. Good. Is the main fleet ready?" "Yes, Admiral. 317 ships standing by. We've also positioned assets near 17 different Kael'thir colony worlds. The Dominion is completely surrounded and they don't even know it yet." Chen pulled up a star chart. looking at the web of red dots that marked Kael'thir territories. Humanity had been busy. While the Dominion was focused on spying on human fleets, humans had been quietly mapping every Dominion installation, every hidden base, every secret facility. Human intelligence had infiltrated Kael'thir networks, cracked their codes, and compromised their security. The spies had been spied upon. When they arrive at their homeworld, we jump in with the full fleet, Chen said. But we don't fire a shot unless they fire first. This is a demonstration, not a massacre. Understood, Admiral. What if they surrender immediately? Then we accept their surrender and dictate terms. What if they fight? Webb was quiet for a moment. Admiral, if they fight, our projections show we could disable their entire defense fleet within 3 hours. They're numerically superior, but we have better positioning, better intelligence, and better technology. It wouldn't be a battle. It would be an execution. Chen nodded slowly. She hoped it wouldn't come to that. She didn't want to destroy the Kael'thir civilization. She just wanted them to understand their mistake. 48 hours later, the Kael'thir spy ship entered their home system. Chen was back on the bridge of the Indomitable, which had jumped ahead to join the main fleet. She watched the display as the spy ship raced toward its homeworld, probably sending desperate warnings about the human pursuit. Jump the fleet in, Chen ordered. Full formation. I want them to see all of us at once. Space tore open as hundreds of human ships emerged from hyperspace simultaneously. They appeared in a perfect sphere around Kael'thir Prime. Every angle covered, every escape route blocked. Chen had positioned her fleet to show overwhelming force without threatening immediate attack. It was a demonstration of capability, not intent. On the planet below, she knew the Kael'thir were panicking. Their sensors would be going crazy. Their defense fleet would be mobilizing. And somewhere in their government buildings, their leaders would be realizing that they had made a terrible mistake. Chen opened a channel, broadcasting on all Kael'thir frequencies. She had prepared her speech carefully, working with human linguists to make sure every word would translate correctly into the Kael'thir language. This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the United Earth Space Service. We have come to deliver a message. Captain Thelras felt her hands shaking as she gripped the control panel. The jump to hyperspace should have saved them. It should have left the humans behind, confused and searching in normal space while the whisper of silence escaped into the faster-than-light currents. But when she checked the sensors, her heart sank. 4 human ships had followed them into hyperspace. They sat exactly 50,000 kilometers behind the whisper of silence, matching speed, maintaining perfect distance. It was impossible. No one could track a ship through hyperspace. The math didn't work. The physics didn't allow it. How? Vel'Kros demanded, his voice rising for the first time since Thelras had known him. How are they following us? Sekthar worked frantically at his station, running diagnostic after diagnostic. I don't know, Hierarch. Our stealth systems are functioning perfectly. We're leaving no trail. There's no radiation signature, no gravitational wake, nothing they should be able to detect. But they're there. They're definitely there. Thelras made a decision, executing evasive pattern theta, taking us through the Crimson Nebula. The radiation there will blind any sensors. The whisper of silence changed course, diving into a massive cloud of ionized gas that stretched across several light years. The nebula was deadly, filled with electromagnetic storms that could fry electronics and radiation that could kill unshielded crews. But the Kael'thir ship was designed to survive such environments. Surely the humans wouldn't follow them into this death trap. They spent 6 hours navigating through the nebula, dodging plasma storms and radiation spikes. When they emerged on the far side, Thelras allowed herself a moment of hope. She checked the sensors, looking for the space behind them. The 4 human ships were still there, 50,000 kilometers back, unchanged, unharmed. This is madness, Sekthar whispered. They shouldn't be able to do this. Our technology is 10,000 years old. We've perfected stealth. We've studied every detection method in the galaxy. There's no way they should be tracking us. Vel'Kros stood frozen on the command platform. Thelras had served under him for 20 years and had never seen him look uncertain. But now his 3 eyes were wide, and his scales had turned pale with stress. Try the black hole slingshot, Vel'Kros finally said. The gravitational distortion should break any tracking lock. Thelras set course for the nearest black hole, a collapsed star that warped space-time around it like a whirlpool. They dove close to the event horizon. using the intense gravity to whip them around and accelerate to extreme speeds. The maneuver was dangerous even for experienced pilots. If they got too close, they would be pulled in and destroyed. But Thelras executed it perfectly, feeling the ship strain as it bent around the black hole and shot out in a new direction at impossible velocity. For a moment, the sensors showed empty space behind them. Then, like ghosts materializing from nothing, the 4 human ships completed the same maneuver and resumed their position. 50,000 kilometers. Always 50,000 kilometers. They're playing with us, Thelras realized, her voice hollow. They're showing us that they can follow us anywhere. This isn't pursuit. This is a demonstration. The crew fell silent. Everyone understood what she meant. The humans weren't trying to catch them or destroy them. They were teaching them a lesson. They were showing the Kelthir what it felt like to be hunted. Days turned into weeks. The whisper of silence ran through every trick in the Kelthir playbook. They jumped through asteroid fields, forcing the humans to navigate through millions of tumbling rocks. The human ships followed. They used gravity assists from multiple planets in succession, a maneuver so complex that it required perfect timing. The human ships matched them. They even tried hiding in the atmosphere of a gas giant, hoping the dense clouds would mask their signature. The human ships waited in orbit above until the whisper of silence had to leave, then resumed their pursuit. Thelras stopped sleeping. She couldn't. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw those 4 ships on her sensors, constant as fate. The crew was falling apart. Kelthir psychology wasn't built for this. They were predators, yes, but ambush predators. They hunted from hiding, striking quickly and disappearing. They weren't built to be prey. They weren't built to be hunted across the galaxy by something that never tired, never gave up, and never let them escape. Sekthar came to her in private after the 3rd week. His eyes were bloodshot, and his scales had lost their healthy sheen. "Captain," he said quietly, "I've been analyzing the human pursuit patterns. I think I understand what they're doing." "Tell me," Thelras said, hoping for any insight that might help. "They're tracking us home. They want us to lead them to Kelthir Prime. Our homeworld's location is the most closely guarded secret in the Dominion. We've kept it hidden for 10,000 years. No enemy has ever found it, but we're leading them straight to it." Thelras felt ice spread through her body. "That's impossible." "We would never. I would never. We have to go home eventually," Sekthar said. "We're running low on supplies. Our systems are showing stress from all these extreme maneuvers. And even if we could run forever, where would we go? We're Kelthir. We need to return home. The humans know this. They're not forcing us to go home. They're just waiting for the inevitable." Thelras thought about altering course, leading the humans away from Dominion space. But where? Into neutral territory? That would start a war with other species. Into empty space? They would die when supplies ran out. There was nowhere to go except home. And home meant betraying the most important secret their civilization possessed. "We could self-destruct," she said quietly. Sekthar shook his head. "I've tried. Multiple times. The ship's self-destruct system isn't responding. I think the humans have infiltrated our computers. They've locked us out of our own ship's critical systems." The full horror of the situation settled on Thelras like a weight. They were trapped in their own vessel, unable to stop it, unable to destroy it, unable to do anything except run on a path that would inevitably lead the humans to their homeworld. She went to Velcross and reported everything. The hierarch listened in silence, his face unreadable. When she finished, he was quiet for a long time. "How did we miss this?" he finally asked. "We studied the humans. We analyzed their technology. We observed their behavior. How did we not realize what they were capable of?" "They deceived us," Thelras said. "Everything we observed was false. Everything we learned was what they wanted us to learn. We thought we were spying on them, but they were controlling what we saw from the beginning." Velcross touched the wall of the ship as if seeking comfort from the metal. "The Dominion needs to know. They need to understand what's coming. Send a quantum message. Tell them everything. Tell them that the humans are far more dangerous than we thought. Tell them that we failed and that we're bringing the enemy home." Thelras sent the message, knowing it would take days to reach Kelthir Prime. She imagined the panic it would cause. The ruling caste would mobilize the entire defense fleet. They would activate every weapon platform, every hidden base, every defensive measure they possessed. They would prepare for war. The whisper of silence continued its journey home. and the 4 human ships followed like patient predators. Thelras watched them on her sensors every day, those small dots that never wavered, never tired, never stopped. She wondered who commanded those ships. Were they celebrating? Did they understand the fear they were causing? Or were they simply doing their job, following orders, executing a mission? She wondered if humans felt fear the way Kelthir did. She wondered if anything scared them. When the whisper of silence finally jumped into the Kelthir home system, Thelras felt no relief. Only dread. The system was filled with Dominion ships, thousands of them, all ready for battle. Orbital weapons platforms surrounded Kelthir Prime like a deadly shell. It was the most powerful defense force the Dominion had ever assembled. At least we can warn them properly now, Sekthar said, trying to find hope. With the entire fleet ready, maybe we can... He stopped talking as space behind them tore open. Not 4 ships this time. Hundreds of ships. Human vessels emerged from hyperspace in a perfect sphere around the planet, surrounding everything, covering every angle. They appeared simultaneously, as if they had practiced this maneuver 1,000 times. Thelras stared at the display, counting ships, calculating odds. The humans had brought enough firepower to glass their homeworld 3 times over, and somehow she knew they had even more ships she couldn't see, hidden with the same technology that had let them track the whisper of silence. We didn't lead them here, she said softly. They already knew where we were. Velcross stood in the emergency council chamber deep beneath the surface of Kelthir Prime. Around him, the 5 members of the ruling caste sat in their elevated positions, their ancient faces showing emotions that Velcross had never seen before. Pure, undiluted fear. Explain this catastrophe, demanded High Matriarch Selvana, the eldest of the caste. You were sent to observe the humans quietly. Instead, you have brought an invasion fleet to our homeworld. Matriarch, we were detected from the moment we entered human space, Velcross said, fighting to keep his voice steady. Everything we observed was false information they wanted us to see. They have technology we didn't know existed. They tracked us through hyperspace using methods we cannot understand, and they have been mapping our entire territory while we were focused on them. Impossible, said cast member Vorthak. Our stealth technology is the most advanced in the galaxy. No one can track our ships when the humans can, Velcross replied, and they have demonstrated it perfectly. They didn't just track one ship. Look at the orbital scans. They have forces positioned near 17 of our colony worlds. They know where everything is. Every base, every installation, every secret facility we thought was hidden. They know all of it. The council chamber's main display activated, showing the positions of human ships throughout Dominion space. Red markers appeared like a disease spreading across their territory. Everywhere the Kelthir had thought themselves safe, human forces waited. High Matriarch Selvana looked at the display for a long time. How many ships do they have above us? 317, reported the military coordinator. Our defense fleet numbers 3,042 vessels. We have numerical superiority. We also have the planetary defense platforms and the stealth armada. If we engage, we can win, can we? Selvana asked quietly. If they knew everything else about us, do you think they don't know about our stealth armada? Do you think they haven't planned for that? The chamber fell silent. The stealth armada was the Dominion's ultimate weapon, a fleet of advanced warships that could strike from perfect concealment. It was their guarantee that even if someone found Kelthir Prime, they could never hold it. But if the humans could track ships through hyperspace, could detect stealth vessels in normal space, then the stealth armada was just another collection of targets. They're hailing us, announced a communications officer. The message is broadcasting on all frequencies, including civilian channels. Admiral Sarah Chen of the United Earth Space Service requests to speak with the ruling caste. All frequencies? Vorthak looked horrified. They're broadcasting to our entire population? Yes, caste member. Every device on the planet is receiving the transmission. Every city, every home, every personal communicator. They've bypassed our government networks entirely. Selvana closed her eyes briefly, understanding the implications. The humans weren't just demonstrating military superiority. They were showing that they had infiltrated Kelthir systems so completely that they could speak directly to the population, bypassing all government control. It was a message within a message. We own your networks, we own your infrastructure, we own everything. Put it on screen, Selvana said. Let us hear what they have to say. The holographic display shifted to show a human female in a dark blue uniform. She looked young by Kael'thir standards, but her eyes were old. She had the look of someone who had seen war and understood it completely. "I am Admiral Sarah Chen of the United Earth Space Service," the human said, her voice calm and clear as it was simultaneously translated into Kael'thir language. "I am speaking not just to your government, but to every citizen of the Kael'thir Dominion. What I am about to say is important for all of you to hear." She paused, and the pause felt calculated, giving her words weight. 3 months ago, your government sent a spy ship into human space. The Whisper of Silence entered our territory, infiltrated our fleet exercises, and attempted to steal our military secrets. Your leaders believed this was a successful operation. They believed we never detected them. This was incorrect. On the screen, a recording appeared showing the Whisper of Silence moving through the human fleet, every moment captured in perfect detail from multiple angles. "We detected your ship the moment it entered our space," Chen continued. "We tracked it constantly. We knew every movement it made, every scan it performed, every message it sent. We allowed it to observe us because we wanted to control what it learned. Everything your spies saw was false information designed to mislead you." The recordings continued, showing human technicians planting fake data, actors performing staged conversations, and engineers creating false vulnerabilities in ship systems. The Kael'thir watching realized with growing horror that their intelligence gathering had been completely compromised. "Your ship tried to escape," Chen said. "We followed it for 3 weeks. We demonstrated that we could track you anywhere, through any obstacle, using any evasive maneuver. We did not destroy your ship because we wanted you to lead us home. And you did." The display showed the long pursuit, the Whisper of Silence desperately trying to escape while the human ships followed with patient precision. "However, we did not need your ship to find your homeworld," Chen said, and those words sent ice through Velcross's body. "We already knew where it was. We have known for 6 months. While you were watching us, we were watching you. While you thought you were learning our secrets, we were learning yours." The display changed again, showing dates and locations. Human intelligence operations throughout Dominion space going back months. Every operation had been successful. The Kael'thir had been completely blind to it. "We know the location of every military base you operate," Chen said. "Every hidden facility, every classified project, every member of your stealth armada, which is currently positioning itself for a surprise attack that we have been anticipating for the past 2 hours. In orbit above Kael'thir Prime, several dozen Kael'thir stealth ships suddenly found themselves painted by human targeting lasers. Their positions were revealed, their perfect concealment stripped away. The crews of those ships knew immediately that they were dead if the humans decided to fire. "We have compromised your entire network," Chen continued. "Your communication systems, your computer networks, your defense platforms, all of it. We could shut down your planetary shields right now. We could disable your ships. We could target your government buildings with precision strikes. We could end your civilization in an afternoon." Velcross watched the faces of the ruling caste. They looked like people staring into an abyss, seeing their own deaths approaching with mathematical certainty. But then Chen's expression changed. Her voice softened slightly, taking on a different tone. "But we won't," she said, "because unlike you, we don't believe in attacking first. We don't believe in destroying civilizations that haven't actually harmed us. You attempted espionage. We could have responded with annihilation. Instead, we chose to respond with a demonstration of overwhelming strategic superiority. This is your lesson." She leaned forward slightly, her eyes seeming to look directly at everyone watching. "You have a choice to make. You can choose peace or you can choose destruction. If you choose peace, we will establish terms. You will open your military operations to transparency. You will dismantle your offensive intelligence operations. You will join the Terran Concordat as a junior partner. You will learn to work with humanity instead of against us. If you choose war," and here her voice became harder, colder, "we will systematically dismantle every military asset you possess. We will disable your fleet without destroying it. We will demonstrate so completely that you cannot win that your own population will remove your government, for forcing them into an unwinnable conflict. And when it is over, the terms will be much worse than what I'm offering now." She sat back in her chair. "You have 24 hours to make your decision. Decide carefully. The choice is yours, but the consequences are permanent. Chen out." The transmission ended. The council chamber was completely silent. Velcross looked at the faces around him and saw the same realization in all of them. They had already lost. The battle was over before it began. The humans had won without firing a single shot. High Matriarch Sylvana spoke quietly. "Contact the human flagship. Tell them we wish to discuss terms." She looked around at the other cast members. "Does anyone disagree?" No one spoke. "Then it is decided. Send the message. Tell Admiral Chen that the Kyle-Thir Dominion surrenders unconditionally." It took 6 hours, not 24. 50 years had passed since what the Kelthir called the humbling. Velcross walked slowly through the halls of the Intelligence Academy, his body bent with age, his scales faded to a dull gray. He was old now, ancient even by Kelthir standards, but he still taught twice a week. The young needed to hear his story. They needed to understand what their civilization had learned. The classroom was full when he entered. 30 young Kyle-Thir looked up at him with respect and curiosity. They had grown up in the new era, the age of transparency and cooperation with humanity. They had never known the old Dominion, the civilization that had thought itself supreme in the arts of stealth and intelligence. "Good morning," Velcross said, settling into his chair at the front of the room. "Today we continue our study of the humbling. Can anyone tell me what mistakes we made?" A young female in the front row raised her hand. "We underestimated the humans. We thought they were primitive." "Correct, but incomplete," Velcross said. "We didn't just underestimate them. We made a fundamental error in our thinking. We assumed that because we had perfected one approach to intelligence gathering, that approach was the best. We assumed our way was the only way. This is what I call strategic blindness." He activated the holographic display, showing images from that fateful mission so many years ago. The whisper of silence moving through the human fleet. The long pursuit. The arrival at Kale-Thir Prime. The surrender. "The humans detected us immediately," Velcross continued. "Their quantum entanglement sensors made our stealth technology obsolete. But here is the important question. Why didn't we know about this technology? We had been observing humans for years. We had spies throughout their space. Why didn't we learn about their sensor breakthrough?" A young male in the back spoke up. "Because we were looking for the wrong things. We were analyzing their conventional technology and assuming it represented their full capabilities." "Exactly," Velcross said. "We saw what we expected to see. We looked for technology similar to ours and concluded they didn't have it. We never considered that they might have developed something completely different. This is the danger of expertise. When you become very good at one thing, you sometimes become blind to alternatives." He paused, letting them think about that. Outside the window he could see human ships in orbit alongside Kale-Thir vessels. The sight had been strange at first, but now it was normal. The two species worked together now, combining Kale-Thir stealth technology with human detection systems, to create an intelligence network that was truly unmatched in the galaxy. "Let me tell you something else about humans," Velcross said, his voice growing softer. "Something I learned when I met Admiral Chen after the surrender." The students leaned forward, interested. This part of the story was rarely discussed in the official histories. 6 months after the surrender, I was invited to Earth. The human government wanted to establish working relationships with former Dominion intelligence officers. I met with Admiral Chen in her office at the United Earth Space Command. I asked her the question that had haunted me since the moment her fleet appeared at Kale-Thir Prime. How did they detect us when species 1,000 years more advanced could not? Velcross remembered that meeting vividly. Even after 50 years, Chen had been gracious, offering him tea from Earth, speaking to him with respect despite his role in the incident. She explained it to me, Velcross continued. She said that the Kyle-Thir evolved as ambush predators who hide and strike. Our entire biology and psychology developed around being unseen. We built our civilization around this natural talent. We perfected stealth because it was in our nature. He gestured to the students. All of you understand this. It is who we are. We are the shadows, the watchers, the unseen. This is our strength. But Admiral Chen explained that humans are different. They evolved as persistence hunters. Do you know what that means? A student raised her hand. They chase prey over long distances until it collapses from exhaustion. Yes, Velcross said. Humans evolved on a world where they were not the strongest or the fastest. They survived by being relentless, by never giving up, by tracking prey across vast distances until the prey could run no more. This shaped their psychology just as our ambush predator nature shaped ours. He pulled up an image of Admiral Chen from that long-ago meeting. She told me that while we perfected hiding, humans perfected finding. Their entire civilization is built around patterns, tracking, and problem-solving. When something is hidden, their instinct is not to give up but to search harder, think differently, try new approaches. They are biologically driven to uncover hidden things. But there's more, Velcross continued. Admiral Chen said something that I think about every day. She said, humans grew up on a death world where everything tried to kill us. We learned to be paranoid. We expect threats, we prepare for threats. When you entered our space, we didn't think nobody's there. We thought something's definitely there. We just need to find it. He let those words hang in the air. The students were silent, processing this information. Do you understand what this means? Velcross asked. While we were congratulating ourselves on our perfect stealth, the humans were assuming we were there and working to find us. Our approach was to hide better. Their approach was to assume they were being watched and to prepare accordingly. One of these approaches is defensive. The other is paranoid. But in intelligence work, paranoia is often correct. A student raised his hand. Instructor, why didn't humans destroy us? They had the power, they had the advantage. In the old galaxy, the strong destroyed the weak. Why did they show mercy? Velcross smiled slightly. I asked Admiral Chen that same question. She said something that surprised me. She said, because we're not trying to rule the galaxy through fear. We're trying to survive in a dangerous universe. Having allies is more useful than having corpses. Then she said, besides, you Kelthir are excellent at what you do. Once we understood your capabilities, we realized we'd be stupid to destroy you. Better to work together. He gestured to the window, where the mixed fleet orbited. And that is what happened. The terms of surrender were harsh but not crippling. We gave up our offensive intelligence operations. We accepted transparency in our military affairs. We joined the Terran Concordat as junior partners. But in exchange, we gained access to human technology, human protection, and human cooperation. Today, Kelthir intelligence officers work side by side with human counterparts. Velcross continued. Our stealth technology combined with their detection systems creates something neither species could achieve alone. We teach them concealment. They teach us persistence. Together we have created the most effective intelligence network in the known galaxy. He paused, looking at the young faces before him. But never forget the lesson of the humbling. We are no longer the supreme power we once thought we were. We are partners in a larger alliance. This is both humbling and liberating. We don't have to be perfect anymore. We don't have to hide our weaknesses. We can admit what we don't know and learn from others who have different strengths. A young female in the middle of the room raised her hand tentatively. Instructor, do you regret what happened? Velcross considered the question carefully. I regret that my mission led to such consequences for our civilization. I regret the fear I caused for Captain Thelras and her crew. I regret that we lost our independence. But I do not regret the outcome. We are stronger now as part of the Concordat than we ever were alone. And we are alive, which we might not have been if we had chosen to fight. He stood slowly, his old bones protesting. Remember this. In intelligence, work knowing yourself is as important as knowing your enemy. We thought we knew ourselves. We thought we were apex predators, but we were wrong. We were just very successful prey who had never met our hunter. The humans taught us that lesson not through destruction, but through demonstration. They showed us the difference between being unseen and being truly secure. Being unseen makes you comfortable. Being secure requires constant vigilance, constant improvement, constant paranoia. He looked at each student in turn. You are the new generation. You will work with humans, not against them. Learn from them. Learn their persistence, their paranoia, their obsession with solving unsolvable problems. Combine it with our skills in concealment and patience. Together, we can accomplish things neither species could achieve alone. But most importantly, and here his voice became very serious, never underestimate another species because they are young, or because they do things differently than you. The humans were in space for only 300 years when they defeated a civilization that had existed for 10,000. Age does not guarantee wisdom. Experience does not guarantee superiority. Adaptability beats tradition. Innovation beats habit. Remember that. The class ended. The students filed out quietly, thinking about what they had learned. Velcross remained in the classroom, looking out at the mixed fleet in orbit. He thought about Captain Thel Ras, who had died 20 years ago, still haunted by those 3 weeks of being hunted. He thought about the ruling caste, all dead now, replaced by younger leaders who had grown up in the new era.